Rakhine rebels were seen in planting anti-personnel landmine in a mosque area of a village in Butidang Township on 28 April 2010. At around 11 p.m., a group of Moog rebel was seen in the masjid area while they were attempting to plant anti-personnel landmines in Sinte Pien village of Sango Tung village tract. The culprits were seen red-handed by the residing Rohingya and they tried to follow the criminals. Unfortunately, as soon as they saw the light, they ran in fear and disappeared in the darkness. They did this heinous attempt to kill the innocent Rohingyas who will come to pray in the masjid, said a Rohingya villager from the area who asked not to be named. According to the local villagers, the rebels even broke the door lock of the masjid and tried to vandalize the sacred place as usual. On the same day, in Sin Kun Dain village of Rate Daung, 2 Rohingya families were threatened and tortured by the Rakhine rebels. Initially, rebels came to abduct Abdul Kamal, son of Abdul Shukur and Saidul Amin, but when they were not at home, their families were tortured and harassed instead. Since the beginning of this year, few remaining suffering Rohingyas have been further scapegoated in the ongoing fight between Burmese military and Arakan army. The Rohingya refugee crisis remains one of the worst in the world, according to senior officials from UNHCR. Filippo Grandi, UNHCR Commissioner, stated during a recent visit to Bangladesh, this remains one of the world's biggest refugee crises. There are more than 900,000 Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh, most of whom fled Myanmar in 2017. I saw a great deal of progress, but their situation, especially for women and children, remains fragile. With the current crisis almost 2 years on, we must give refugees the chance to learn, build skills and contribute to their communities while also preparing for reintegration when they can return to Myanmar, Grandi added. The future of the Rohingya refugees hangs in the balance. Grandi was accompanied by the UN Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator Mark Lowcock and Director General of the International Organization for Migration (IOM) Antonio Vitorino. The 3 were in the country to assess the situation on the ground and highlight the needs of the Rohingya community. The visit also came just ahead of the cyclone period, which is followed by the monsoon season. Both pose serious risks, including flooding, landslides, and disease outbreaks to thousands of already vulnerable women, men, and children. The Rohingya community is made up of so many young people who are in need of hope and opportunities if they are to build successful lives upon their return to Myanmar, said Vitorino added. He added, "We are concerned for the welfare of the Rohingya refugees who live in such vulnerable circumstances in Cox's Bazar, as well as for host communities which also face significant challenges, particularly the lead up to the monsoon season." In their meetings with refugees, the humanitarian leaders were also reminded of the harrowing circumstances refugees fled from and were encouraged by their resilience. The first time I was in Cox's Bazar in 2017, hundreds of thousands of Rohingya had just fled across the border from the most appalling brutality imaginable, said Lowcock. During this trip, we met with a remarkable group of male refugee role models as well as women volunteers who are supporting those who have survived this brutality and also working to prevent violence in the camps. A wise, far-sighted approach would see a stronger focus on helping the refugees not just recover from the horrors they have experienced, but also to prepare for a dignified, longer-term future, said Lowcock.